So, the next color we're going to be working on is Mr. Color, Gundam Color, MS Char Red. We did the pink, the MS Char Pink. Those parts are drying. Now let's move on to the darker color, which is the red. It has a very russet, bloodish color tone. Let's see how it looks once we spray it. I'm going to begin on this part here because this goes on the inside. Good. It's okay. It's good. Now, I have not masked off the other parts yet, because I want to get through these first, and then we'll do the masking soon. It's a nice color. Do the most obvious part here. I'm going to give it a light pass on from a distance before I do shorter coverage. I'm going to revisit this in a moment. And I think I may have to put a little bit more thinner on this. Somebody asked me, why do I need this? Well, listen, it goes all the way down here. I can grab a little bit, put it on it, and squeeze it back in there, what I don't need, and there you go. That's a little bit more smoother. That should help me out a little bit more. Alright. I was actually going to paint this like the charcoal or the darker gray, but I decided to do this. So. Another one that we need to paint, a big part here. Let me make sure that I can grab it in a good angle. There we go. Alright, same thing as before. Light passes first. One thing I don't like about this part here right now is a lot of angular structure, 90-degree angles there. that when you spray it, you get the coverage, but then it doesn't get that nice little fine little corner there. And then you end up spraying it, overspraying it, thinking that, oh, I'll get it, and then you do. But then now one side, you have an oversaturation of the color. So you really need to be patient with this. So one pass is good, and then you'll come back and do a secondary pass, and that should cover up that edge mark that I just mentioned. So you don't, you don't say to yourself, oh, damn it, I made a mistake. I was originally going to paint this pink, but then I realized it's kind of like a portion of the skirt armor. So I'm going to do the darker tone, and then I'm definitely going to mask it off to give it some lighter tones. I think I can do a 3-tone colored setup here. This part here, which was very loose when I put it on, for those of you who remember. So I'm hoping to, with the paint, it'll tighten up a bit. Let's just do 3 more. And where is that mask? I mixed a few parts here and there. Oh, yeah, I think we could do this one. Yeah, we need this too. Up there it is. The front part of the face, the V-fin, one of the V-fins. In all due fairness, now I'm looking at it this angle, and maybe it hasn't dried yet, but I feel like I'm looking at purple, not the reddish tone that this, we all are aware of or familiar with. Maybe it's the purple or the reddish tone from, what do you call it, Origins. There we go. The face mask itself. That's nice. Alright, well, let's revisit back this part. get that edges there. Now that's actually a really nice color. Oof, yeah. So much so. Oh, wow. And of course I gotta look at it in the right angle, because I don't want to accidentally oversaturate one side, thinking that the other side was too light, and then vice versa. Okay, that's actually really good. Very good. Okay, so with this, I'm going to now finish up the remaining parts, but obviously we need to continue with the red. So give me some time to finish up the ones that are not covered up or masked off, and we'll get to the others in a few moments. So hang on. Okay, so I'm just doing a final look at all these parts, making sure that I didn't miss anything. The color tone came out pretty well. How it looks, yeah. I just recently watched a video of Char Zaku, and so you understand this is the color of Char Zaku from the original series, not the Origins. So think, you know, you got to think about that. This is not an Origins kit. This is actually going to be the color tone that was used in the original anime. The only thing is, I did notice a few things, little minor things. One, there's certain areas that it's a little lighter tone on some of the parts, like here. I just noticed it right now, and I try to spray paint both of them at the same time. But here, the tone of pink, and I don't know if you guys can see that, this part is lighter than this. So it'll definitely be something that I have to look into, repainting it again. I knew that was going to happen. These things do happen during the painting phase, where you miss something, or the angle looked a little weird. You know, you thought you got it, in reality you didn't. So no big deal. I can take care of that. Same holds true with certain of the red. Like right now, this part, which is the foot, the part that goes on the where the my God, the hips. That's right. These. I guess when I'm looking at the light, certain areas is a little bit lighter than the other. So I'm gonna have to definitely maybe put a few drops on this for the darker red and respray paint it again. So that's something that I have to look into. Well, right now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to begin masking off the parts that I'm going to use. I thought I had this here in my room, not realizing that it was also taken to storage. So I had to go to storage, and luckily I was able to find it in the first box that I put all my stuff away. And not the one that I can peel out. No, this one is just basically just use my hobby knife, put it on my cutting. I have a small cutting board. I got to get it out of the table, and I'll just cut the sizes to the width that I need. And clearly, the ones that's going to be needed will be the arms, because of the this part. Excuse me. These two parts here, that's necessary. Thinking of this one because I want to paint that little notch there, so this is definite right there. I did cover this a lot, but I'm gonna have to redo it again, and I'm gonna, alright, these two definitely. This one, because I like this little separation here, that has to be painted. So I got that. This one, these two little notches here are good to be painted separately. So I'll get those two out of the way. Here's the other one. Right now I'm pulling from the red parts, dark red parts, and clearly these two. Yeah, I may have to re-spray paint them before I mask them off, so I'll keep that to the side. Here's the other one right here, and of course these, this one, and this one. So I'm going to begin reviewing a little bit more parts that I'm going to need to separate clearly the shoulder parts. Then let's mask them off after I retouch them up again, and then let's paint. Definitely have to paint the red, the dark red, on the pink. So I think what I'll do is I'll begin with the dark red parts on the pink first, because that's actually the thing though. You know, I just didn't realize it. So like this one, well, to tell you the truth, when I cover this up and just expose these areas, that's actually going to be the charcoal parts. So that's charcoal, that's charcoal, that's charcoal, so we know that that is it. This part here, the little section here, that has to be the metallic charcoal right there, so that has to be masked off. There's a lot here that I have to review. So let me prepare this so you guys can see all this work. Wow, don't you guys love masking? I mean, it is a joy to do. Yeah, right. Well, it is a joy, of course, to do it, but if you don't, you know, if you don't commit to it, you're going to say to yourself, why did I do this? Or why didn't I do this? I spend a lot of time with masking, and it's a pain in the ass, as you can see here. Some parts were easy to do, something like this one, like I mentioned before. This will be the darker red once I finish, you know, when I start priming, so that's painting, I mean, that is. So that's fine. The arms, on the other hand, are the ones that are the biggest pain in the ass. So like this one right here, I want to paint the inside of this, so I'm covering up everything I could so I can just paint the here and here, obviously bend it down and paint the inside there. I don't know if I'll be able to grasp the sides or the under part of this, but I will try, of course. And then I mess off in there so that way the paint doesn't bleed through all the way, just enough to go through. This was easy because, you know, it's only one portion of it, but then you have to do the same thing for the static arms. I'm sorry, I didn't realize these things were already sticking to this. See that? So you have the static arms, so it's the same thing here. The only difference is you're not bending it. It's already static like that. I'm actually considering of popping this out because it's not split in the middle, it's split to the side. And for me to do this so I can just pop it back in again, I mean, there's not that much detail loss, so I'm now reconsidering popping this out. I can't do it with these arms because, unfortunately, as you could see, there was a seam line that goes right through this. I sanded that down, so you can't see that. And that's on this other side as well. So I can never pop this out. This will have to be painted and then manipulated so I can spread around a bit. So this has to be done for these two, but for the other static arms, that's you know, a consideration. Put some stuff here, stuff there, so I can paint the edges. Didn't realize that you have to also do it for this part, like there, because that goes around. Now, for the shoulders, I actually had to take the thing apart. I was actually putting the masking tape while the whole plate is on, and then I realized just take the whole thing apart because it's going to be put back. I have to take it apart anyway, so I can put the detail connector to, you know, inside here. And I masked off everything I could here, but I'm going to have to end up remasking it or holding it down as I spray paint it and be very careful with it. And then I was going to leave that all pink, but then, and this is the part about painting where sometimes you see something and you go, ah, damn it, I missed it and I have to redo it again. Here in this part, let me see if I can zoom in. You can see a little bit of the primer didn't get covered up during the spray painting of the pink. So I decided to take this portion and painted the red. So that is on for that, and I haven't masked this off, so I got to work on that now. Masked off these parts here, but this is not going to be red. This is actually going to be the charcoal parts. actually the gunmetal parts. So that's going to be, this is gunmetal. This is gunmetal, which I have to mask off soon. This is the white portion of the other one, so that goes there. And this one's going to be the red for this one. And this guy here, where are you? I just saw it a second ago. No. Oh, here it is. So this one right here. Now, I mentioned before that I was going to do this, and this red, but then I saw how it bled in and everything, I decided to paint just the whole section here red. And there's a cover right there. So this one is prepped for that. That's on the pink side, and I know there's going to be a few here that I may have to show off, but on the red portion of it, which I'm going to be painting the charcoal colors or maybe another tone, I had these two here, these little notches there that is going to be painted off. You know what, let me zoom out, I'm sorry. So we have these two right here, which is simple and easy. The one that gave me a little bit of trouble was this one right here, this whole section here, and I don't know how well I'm going to get that. Unfortunately, I don't know where I put my small little cutting board, which could have been perfect for the masking tape. And I don't want to take this cardboard off because I have to put it back on for painting. So I had to use the cardboard as something to apply the tape and then cut it off. And you know, it is what it is. So I had to do it the way it is. I could see here. So this was a bit tough to do. Another one that was a bit tough to do was this guy, and I haven't even done the other one yet. Cutting this around was not as easy as you think, because I guess when I was sanding this down, I was also sanding down the trim, so I had to be very careful how to cut this so I can, you know, make the circle. And unfortunately, actually, you know what? Let me open up my cab. I'm opening my cabinet here and double checking again, because now I realize I don't have my stencil, which I can actually put over it. So once I paint this whole section the one color, then I can use the stencil to cover up the hole and paint the inside, the red color tone. So, and I don't feel like it's a pain in the ass to cut circles without a stencil. So that's going to be the way it is until I figure it out. This one was easy to do, so yeah, it was the patterns right there. This one is easy to do right there because I'm going to be spray painting inside. Another one that's easy, but I'm going to have to do some work on that, was this part here, and I have to put more tape on the edges so I can paint that inside. Then we have this, that I said the cheeks are going to be painted red, and then I decided to paint the top part black. I'm sorry, red, because like the shoulder part, the side here was not painted pink, and I don't feel like repainting it pink. You know, I'll do fairness. So yeah, masking is a pain in the ass, and I still have more parts that I'm going to review for me to mask off. I'm considering masking off something, a portion of this. I don't know what, but even though this has a lot of trim parts here, like the parts that go here, masking this whole thing just so I can paint this middle part, maybe an idea. That's an idea right there. There's some detail here that I can mask off. I don't know yet. I'm considering it. The white parts is another one that I'm actually considering. Actually, the light grayer tones, where I can actually mask off this section here and paint it off, maybe a charcoal color. That's an idea right there. This was an idea too. This is part of the leg, part of the ankle armor, because there's this little gap here that's clearly about maybe 2 millimeters in width. So I'm actually considering this. That's actually a definite. Really, I don't care about the bottom part of this, even though that's a different color tone. So it's going to probably be the way it is. And I did mention this part right here, but I have Now I'm actually considering getting the pink out so I can spray paint some areas that I missed that looks a little too light. Not to mention that I'm going to have to probably revisit this one because I just noticed this color tone here is different. So now I'm actually considering maybe masking this and spray painting this. Maybe even masking these parts here. These 4 plus these 2 and clearly this so I can paint the inside. This is a bit of a chore, but let's see what we can do so I can get the most out of this kit.